The rain fell hard that evening, washing away the laughter of the city and leaving behind only silence. On a quiet street corner, a woman stood trembling beneath a broken umbrella. Her clothes were soaked, her shoes muddy, but it wasn't the weather that made her shake, it was fear. "Please don't kick me. I'm already hurt," she whispered, her voice barely holding together as a stranger's shadow loomed over her. To the world, she looked like any simple woman, humble, quiet, invisible. But what no one knew was that she was married to one of the richest men in the country. A billionaire whose name opened doors, moved markets, and silenced critics. Yet tonight she had no protection, no luxury, no safety. Only pain. Her name was Anna. She had once believed in fairy tales, in love that healed, in promises that lasted. But the world she had entered after marriage wasn't made of dreams. It was made of secrets, power, and quiet suffering. Every smile she showed in public hid a bruise the world could not see. People envied her, not realizing the cost of her diamonds. As she stood there in the dark, clutching her bag tightly, headlights cut through the rain. A car stopped beside her. Sleek, expensive, familiar. The door opened slowly, and she froze when she saw the man step out. It was him, her husband, the billionaire everyone admired. But the look in his eyes wasn't love. It was something colder. Anna took a step back, her heart pounding. Why was he here? How did he find her? The streetlight flickered above them, the rain still falling, and in that fragile moment, everything she had been running from finally caught up with her. Anna's breath caught in her throat as the car door closed with a soft thud. The sound echoed in the empty street, louder than the rain. Her husband, Richard, stepped closer. His designer suit untouched by the storm, his shoes shining under the dim streetlight. Everything about him spoke of control, precision, and power. But behind that polished image was a man she no longer recognized. "Anna," he said quietly, his voice calm, almost tender, but she had learned that calm often came before the storm. She didn't move. Her hands trembled around the strap of her bag. "You shouldn't have left the house," he continued, taking another step forward. "You know what people will think if they see you like this." Her throat felt dry. "I don't care what they think," she whispered. "I just needed to breathe." Richard smiled faintly, the kind of smile that never reached his eyes. "You think you can just walk away? After everything I've done for you?" His words were sharp, hidden beneath a smooth tone that once charmed her. Years ago, she had fallen in love with that same voice, the voice that promised her protection, comfort, and a future. She had believed in it. But somewhere between charity galas and mansion walls, love had been replaced by control. She remembered the day they met, how he had stopped to help her when her car broke down on a country road. He was kind then, or at least he seemed so. He had listened, laughed, made her feel seen. Coming from a small town, Anna had thought she'd found her miracle. But after the wedding, small things began to change. Calls she wasn't allowed to answer, places she wasn't allowed to go, friends who slowly disappeared from her life. Now, standing in the rain, she could hardly remember who she used to be. The girl who once dreamed of starting a bakery, who loved painting sunsets, who believed that kindness could change people. She was gone. Richard stopped a few feet away, his expression unreadable. "You're making a mistake," he said softly. "Come home. You don't have to do this to yourself." The way he said it made her stomach twist. "Do what?" she asked, though she already knew. He tilted his head, as if studying her. "Pretend to be the victim." Her heart sank. There it was again, that quiet manipulation, the same tone that always made her question her own reality. She had learned that with him, words were weapons disguised as concern. "I'm not pretending," she said, her voice shaking. "I just want to feel safe." For a moment, something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, maybe even guilt. But it disappeared as quickly as it came. "You are safe with me," he said firmly. "You always have been." Thunder rolled in the distance, and Anna took a step back, clutching her bag tighter. Inside it was something he didn't know she had, a folded envelope with documents she had spent months gathering. Proof of things she wasn't supposed to see. Richard's gaze lowered to her bag for just a second, and she knew. He suspected. Her pulse raced. The rain poured harder, blurring the world around them. She wanted to run, to scream, but her feet wouldn't move. "Anna," he said quietly. "Let's go home." She shook her head, tears mixing with the rain. "I can't." The air between them felt heavy, charged with everything left unsaid. Richard's jaw tightened. For the first time that night, his mask slipped just a little, and in his eyes she saw fear. Not of losing her, but of what she might do next. The rain had softened to a mist now, but the tension between them only grew heavier. Anna's eyes darted around the empty street, hoping someone might walk by, someone who could break the moment, but there was no one. The world seemed to shrink until it was just the two of them standing in the glow of the streetlight, trapped between memory and fear. Richard's voice was low, almost gentle. "You're tired, Anna. You've been under pressure. You're confused. Come home, we'll talk." But Anna knew that talk never meant what it sounded like. Every time he said it, it ended with silence, her silence. She took another step back, her bag brushing against her side, and she felt the hard edge of the envelope inside. That envelope was the reason she had left. It was her truth. Hidden records, bank transfers, names of charities that didn't exist, all linked to her husband. The billionaire philanthropist admired by millions was not the man the world believed he was. "I'm not coming back," she said, her voice trembling but firm. "Not until I tell the truth." Richard's eyes darkened, his calm slipping just slightly. "The truth," he repeated, almost laughing. "You think you know the truth, Anna? You have no idea what you've stumbled into." For a moment, his words chilled her more than the rain. There was something in his tone, not just anger but warning. Something deeper. A car passed in the distance, its headlights flashing briefly across Richard's face, and Anna saw something there she hadn't before. Fear. Real fear. But of what? Or who? When he spoke again, his voice was quieter. "You don't understand. This isn't about us anymore." Anna frowned. "Then who is it about?" Richard hesitated, glancing down the street as if expecting someone to appear. "You need to stop digging," he whispered. "Before they find you." "They." The word left her lips like a breath. "Who are you talking about?" But before he could answer, his phone buzzed in his pocket. He looked at the screen, and his expression changed instantly. The confident businessman was gone. What remained was a man caught between two fires. "I have to go," he said sharply. "Wait," she pleaded. "Richard, tell me what's happening." But he was already walking away, sliding into the car. The tires hissed on the wet pavement as the vehicle pulled into the dark, leaving Anna alone under the flickering light. Her mind spun with confusion. Who were they? And why would a billionaire, someone untouchable, sound afraid? She reached into her bag and pulled out the envelope. The papers inside were damp but still legible. There were signatures, accounts linked to shell organizations overseas, and one name repeated over and over: Haven Foundation, a charity she had proudly spoken about in interviews, believing it helped struggling families. Now she wasn't sure it was even real. She needed help. Someone who would believe her. Someone who could piece together the truth before it disappeared like everything else in Richard's world. Her phone vibrated suddenly. An unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. A distorted voice spoke through the static. "Mrs. Hale, we know what you took. You need to leave the city. Now." Anna's heart pounded. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice shaking. But the line went dead. She stood frozen, staring at the dark screen, her reflection trembling in it. Somewhere out there, someone was watching her. And for the first time, she realized this wasn't just about her marriage anymore. It was about something much bigger, something that powerful people would do anything to protect. In the distance, a pair of headlights appeared again, moving slowly toward her. Only this time it wasn't Richard's car. Anna's pulse quickened as the headlights crept closer through the fog. The street was nearly deserted now, only the faint hum of the city in the distance. She clutched her bag tighter, her fingers brushing the damp envelope inside, the very thing that had turned her life upside down. The car slowed as it neared her, the tinted window rolling down just enough for a faint beam of light to spill across her face. "Anna Hale!" a voice called out. It wasn't Richard's. It was calm, male, unfamiliar, but it carried authority. She took a cautious step back. "Who are you?" she asked, keeping her voice steady even as fear twisted inside her. "I'm here to help," the man said. "Please get in. You're not safe here." The words made her stomach tighten. She had heard them before. From Richard, from his assistants, from everyone who spoke in quiet tones behind closed doors. "You're not safe" always meant the same thing. Stay quiet, do as told, don't ask questions. The car door opened slowly, revealing a man in a dark coat. His face was partly hidden in shadow, but his expression wasn't threatening, more urgent, like someone racing against time. "We don't have long," he said. "They know you have the files." Her heart stopped for a beat. "Who are they?" she demanded. "Tell me what's going on." He looked around nervously before answering. "The Haven Foundation isn't what you think. Your husband. He's been working with people who use the charity as a cover for something else. Something dangerous." Anna felt her world tilt. "That's impossible," she whispered. "It helps people. I've seen the work." "Have you?" the man interrupted gently. "Or have you only seen what they wanted you to see?" Before she could reply, another car appeared at the far end of the street. Its headlights were brighter, sharper. The first man turned pale. "Get in now," he said urgently. "If they find you, it's over." But Anna froze. Every instinct told her not to trust him. She didn't even know his name. "Why should I believe you?" she asked. He sighed. "Because the person who sent me was your husband." Her breath caught. "Richard." He nodded. "He told me to find you before they did." The second car was speeding toward them now, its engine loud and fast. The first man motioned desperately. "Please, Mrs. Hale. He's trying to protect you. But he can't do it for long." Anna's mind raced. Just hours ago, Richard had been cold, distant, even threatening. Now he was sending people to help her. None of it made sense. The roar of the approaching car grew louder. The man grabbed her hand. "Now or never." She hesitated for just a second, then ducked into the car. The door slammed shut, and they sped off just as the other vehicle screeched around the corner. In the rearview mirror, Anna saw two men step out, scanning the street. One of them was on the phone, pointing in their direction. Her pulse thundered as the city lights blurred past. "Where are we going?" she asked. "Somewhere safe," the man replied, eyes fixed on the road. "But you need to understand something. Your husband isn't the enemy you think he is. He was trying to expose them, and you might be his only chance left." The words hit her like a wave. The pieces didn't fit, not yet, but the picture forming terrified her. As they turned onto the highway, Anna looked out the window. Another car had started following them, its headlights keeping perfect distance. The man cursed under his breath and pressed harder on the gas. Anna's heart pounded as she gripped the seat. Whatever she had uncovered wasn't just a scandal. It was a secret powerful enough to destroy lives. And now, both she and Richard were caught in the middle of something far beyond either of them. Somewhere behind, the headlights drew closer. The chase had begun. The highway stretched out like a black ribbon under the stormy sky, the wipers struggling to keep up with the rain. Anna's pulse raced with every mile. The man beside her, who had yet to give his name, drove fast but focused, his eyes fixed on the rearview mirror. The car behind them was still there, a constant shadow that refused to fade. "Who are those people?" Anna finally asked, her voice trembling. "They're not from the foundation," he replied. "They work for someone else, the one who controls it." Anna turned toward him. "You said Richard sent you." Why would he get involved with them in the first place? The man hesitated, his jaw tightening. Because he thought he could control them. He built Haven to expose corruption, not feed it. But somewhere along the line he got trapped. And when he tried to pull out, they turned on him. The words hit her like ice. So all those charity events, all the donations, were a cover, the man said. Money laundering, political payoffs, even disappearances. Your husband discovered too much. That's why they went after him. And now they're coming for you because you have proof. Anna stared out the window, her reflection pale in the glass. The papers in her bag suddenly felt heavier. She thought about Richard's eyes that night, the fear she'd seen but didn't understand. Maybe he wasn't trying to hurt her after all. Maybe he was trying to keep her away from something darker. Before she could speak, the car jolted violently. The man swore and slammed the brakes. A black SUV had cut them off from the side, forcing them onto a narrow service road that led into the woods. "Hold on," he shouted, swerving to avoid a collision. The tires screeched as the car slid through mud, branches scraping against the windows. They finally stopped near an abandoned gas station, the engine sputtering. The man grabbed a small device from the dashboard, a phone with no markings. "We have to move. They can trace us." He opened his door, scanning the dark tree line. Anna hesitated, glancing back toward the road. The SUV's lights appeared again, slowly advancing. "Come on," he urged. They ran through the rain, their footsteps splashing against puddles. Anna's lungs burned, her heart hammering as they reached the side of the station. The man pulled out a small flashlight and pointed to a rusted door. "In here," he said. Inside, the air was cold and smelled of oil. Old signs hung from the walls, and cobwebs covered broken tools. He shut the door behind them and listened for movement. For a moment, only the sound of rain filled the silence. Then a voice echoed from the shadows. "You're late." Anna froze. Another man stepped forward from the dark, tall, sharp-featured, with a familiar presence that sent chills down her spine. He wasn't one of the men from the SUV. He was someone she knew. "Richard," she whispered. Her husband stood there, soaked and exhausted, his face pale but determined. "I had to make sure they didn't follow you," he said, his voice hoarse. "You shouldn't have left the house. They were watching everything." The man who had driven her there turned to him. "You didn't tell me you'd be here." "I didn't plan to be," Richard replied. "But things changed. They know about the files." Anna's mind swirled. "Richard, what is happening? Who are these people chasing us?" He looked at her with regret. They were supposed to be investors, partners, but they turned everything into something I couldn't stop. And now, they want to erase anyone who knows the truth. A sudden crash outside made them all flinch. The sound of doors slamming, voices shouting. Richard grabbed Anna's arm. "They found us." The man by the door pulled out a phone, typing fast. "We still have one chance. But we need to get those documents out of here, now." Anna reached for her bag, her hands shaking. She didn't know who to trust anymore. Her husband, the stranger, or no one at all. But as the lights from the SUV cut through the windows, she knew one thing for certain. Whatever secret she was caught in, it was powerful enough that people were willing to kill to keep it buried. The rain outside had turned into a roar, pounding against the old gas station as if trying to warn them of what was coming. Anna's hands trembled as she clutched the envelope, the papers inside now crumpled and damp. Richard moved closer, his eyes darting between her and the stranger who had brought her there. Outside, headlights flashed through the cracks in the boarded windows. The men from the SUV were surrounding the place. "We don't have time," the stranger said, his tone sharp. "If those documents get out, this all ends. You have to trust me, Mrs. Hale." But before Anna could respond, Richard stepped between them. "No," he said firmly. "Give them to me. I'll finish this." Anna looked at him, torn between fear and disbelief. "Finish it. Richard, they're here for you." You said it yourself. I can fix this, he insisted, his voice cracking with desperation. I just need those files. The stranger shook his head. He's lying, he said. He made a deal with them. He's been working both sides. You think they let billionaires just walk away? Anna's heart thudded painfully. Richard, is that true? Richard's jaw tightened. I did what I had to do to protect you, he said quietly. You don't understand how deep this goes. If those files go public, it's not just me they'll destroy, it's you too. The sound of footsteps echoed outside. Shadows moved past the windows. Anna could hear muffled voices and the clicking of weapons being loaded. She didn't know who to believe anymore. Then the stranger pulled something small from his coat pocket. A flash drive. This, he said, holding it up, is the only copy that matters. I was never sent by Richard. I was sent by someone else. Someone who wants the truth out, no matter the cost. Richard's eyes widened. You're one of them. I was, the man admitted, until I found out what you did. Anna's breath caught. The air between them felt electric, every second stretching longer than the last. Then suddenly the front door burst open. Armed men stormed in shouting orders. Richard lunged forward, trying to grab the flash drive. The stranger dodged, shoving it into Anna's hands. Run, he shouted. But before she could move, a loud crack echoed, a single shot splitting through the storm. Richard froze, his eyes wide, then stumbled backward, collapsing to the floor. Anna screamed, dropping beside him. His hand reached up weakly, fingers brushing hers. Anna, don't let them win, he whispered. The stranger pulled her up. We have to go. Through her tears, she looked back once, at the man who had once been her whole world, then ran into the storm. They sprinted through the woods as sirens wailed in the distance. Helicopter lights cut through the darkness, scanning the ground below. Finally, they reached a small clearing where another car waited. The stranger handed her a small device. Upload it, he said. Everything will go public in seconds. Anna stared at the flash drive, her heart pounding. And if I do? Then you'll expose them all, every name, every deal. But once you do, you'll never be able to go back. For a moment she hesitated, then inserted the drive into the console. The screen flickered, a loading bar appearing. Just as it reached the end, the stranger's phone buzzed. He glanced at it and went pale. What is it? She asked. He looked up slowly, eyes wide. The files didn't upload to the press, he said. They were redirected by someone else. Before Anna could respond, a voice came through the car speaker. It was calm, familiar, and sent chills down her spine. Hello, Anna, the voice said. You did exactly what I needed. Her breath caught. It was Richard. The line crackled, then went silent, leaving only the sound of the rain, and the terrifying realization that the man she thought was gone had been one step ahead all along. Anna sat frozen, the sound of Richard's voice still echoing through the car. For a moment she couldn't breathe. The man she thought she had lost, the man she believed had tried to save her, had never really been gone. He had planned everything, every step, every move. The files she had risked her life to protect had never belonged to her. They had been his key all along. The stranger beside her looked stunned. He played us, he muttered. He wanted you to believe he was the victim. Outside, the storm began to fade. The rain slowed, the trees stood still, and the world seemed quieter. But inside, Anna's thoughts were chaos. So it was all a setup, she whispered. Even me leaving, even tonight. She looked out at the horizon, where the first hint of dawn broke through the clouds. All he ever wanted was control, she said softly. Even when he pretended to lose it. The stranger started the engine again. What will you do now? Anna glanced at the device still glowing faintly in her hands. He may have redirected the files, she said. But that means they still exist. Somewhere there's a copy. And this time I'll make sure it reaches the right people. As they drove away, the city lights appeared in the distance, glimmering like a promise. She wasn't running anymore. She was fighting back, not for revenge but for truth. In the end, the story wasn't about a billionaire or his secrets. It was about a woman who found her voice after years of silence. A woman who learned that sometimes the greatest power isn't money or influence. It's the courage to finally stand up and walk away from the darkness.